Well, you know, maybe not so bright-eyed, but bushy-tailed. Oh, thank you. And thank you to everyone who kept us in your prayers this past week at the passing of my mom's last sister. So now all the Martin girls are gone, and it's up to us to carry on this truth to the next generation. So thank you all. We definitely felt your prayers this week. Today, we are talking about serving. And I've asked these two ladies to join us because they are very familiar with serving. Now, I want to clarify. It's one thing to talk about serving God. And I think it's a general consensus. Everybody here, I mean, you made the effort to get up and be here this morning. So everyone here is serving God. That is your heart's desire, is serving God. But what we're talking about today is a little different. We're talking about serving in the kingdom and actually doing things. And that's what we're going to talk about this morning. So let's start out with reading some scriptures here. Matthew 25, 14 through 30. Many of you have already heard this and you know this by heart. For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability. And straightway he took his journey. Let me stop right there. When I was a child, I got very confused at the word talent because I thought that meant ability. And so I was thinking, how can he give people talents? Like, I'm thinking playing the piano, singing, an artist, that kind of thing. It's money. Back in those days, in the Bible days, a talent was money. Where was I? Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same and made them other 5 talents. And likewise, he that had received 2, he also gained other 2. But he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoneth with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou hast delivered unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained 5 beside them, 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliveredst unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee, that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast, that is thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gathered where I have not strawed. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers. Then at my coming I should have received my own with usury. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which had 10 talents. For unto every one that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Long story to say, if you have an ability, you should use that ability for the Lord. And those who say, I don't want to use my talent. I don't want to use my gifting. I'm scared. I don't want to get up in front of people. Thank you. And no, I'm not talking to you, Sister Ruth. I'm sorry. As soon as that came out of my mouth, I went, oh no, I'm not talking to you. What he's saying is people who say, no, I'm too scared to use my gifting. I don't want to use this for the church or for the kingdom. This is what he's talking about. 1 Peter 4:10, as every man hath received the gift, Even so, minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of God. Basically, if you've been given a gift, use that gift. That gift can be speaking to others. It can be, some of you are marvelous artists. Some of you are graphic artists, and you could be doing this kind of stuff up here. Some of you are outgoing, and you should be working on the door. And when people walk in, you're greeting people and you're just making them feel so good. And then others are like, I prefer not to be in front of everyone. I'll do my work behind the scenes. But Peter is saying, whatever it is you've got, use that. Galatians 5:13, for brethren, ye have been called unto liberty, only use not liberty for an occasion for the flesh, but by love serve one another. I love that. Serve one another. So I saw a quote this week. Some of you have heard of Andy Stanley. He always comes up with these great thought-provoking things. And I saw this past week. He said, are you too busy to serve at your local church? FYI, every Sunday you attend your local church, you're served by very busy people. Get involved. I love that because so many people say, I'm too busy to do anything. And everyone you see around here is very busy. So let's go through some questions here and let's get their input. And I want to hear your input also. Number one, how does the parable of the talents inform our understanding of responsibility and stewardship in serving? So we're talking about parable of the talents. What does that let you know about stewardship and serving? Karen, let's start with you. Tell us about that.
Okay. So it helps us remember that, like, you have to remember that he gave one servant 1 talent, he gave another servant 2 talents, and the last one 5 talents. That shows us that while some people are like talented and able to handle huge things, and some people are able to handle small things, so that doesn't make the ones who handle small things less important than the ones who handle huge things.
Yes, that is great. Thank you.
But in the end, the only thing that matters is that you're serving in the kingdom of God. Because if you're like the one who had 1 talent, even though you only have 1 talent, it's still a huge thing in the kingdom of God because you're doing something for him. But if you just let it sit there,
that is good. Do y'all see why I asked her to join us today? And I know all of you work in the kingdom of God. You do things. You guys serve coffee. You all work at the door. You do all these different things. Karen has done this since birth. So her parents, I remember the vacuum cleaner being bigger than her, and she would push that thing throughout the sanctuary. She was pushing, and then her mom would finally take it and do it herself. So that's the reason I ask. Sister Nanette, why don't you tell us your feeling? How do you take the parable of the talents?
Okay. Well, I also included, if anybody wants to read it, John 21:15 through 17, where Jesus is telling Peter to take care of his flock. Because that includes us.
That's right.
So
yes,
that's one that stands out to me. As far as the talents, I read it in a few different versions, and the one word ability kept popping out to me over and over again. The master recognized that everybody had a different level of ability, and God's no different.
That's right.
God gives us all something.
Yes.
And we don't all have the same abilities and gifts. If we all had the same one, there'd be a whole lot of stuff that didn't get done.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, so there's any number. Everybody's got something different, and we all have something to contribute, even if you don't think you do. But because the title you had on here was Everyday Serving, when I did that, I looked up everyday as one word, which is ordinary, average, normal, daily, and commonplace. And then every day as 2 words, daily, each day on a daily basis.
That's good.
For talking about serving. Because some of it is so commonplace. And these servants had duties of their own, and probably a lot of them were very commonplace.
That's true. Thank you. These are so good. When we're talking about serving every day, and the reason I asked Sister Nanette was there are so many things she does behind the scenes that people don't know anything about. When I hope it's okay to bring this up. I should have asked you ahead of time. When Sister Ruth had surgery, Sister Ruth needed someone who could take her to the hospital, sit with her, drive her back home, check to make sure that she had everything she needed. Sister Nanette jumped on that. Now, please understand when we're up here talking, it does not mean that you didn't do it. Everybody here would have done it. I know that. Everybody would have done it if they would have known about it. So please understand, this is not a slight at anyone, okay? I just wanted to make sure we've got that clear. For me, the parable of the talents is that everything God gives to us, we've got to be able to give back to others. Every kind of blessing, whether it's monetary, whether it's a natural gifting that you have. Those of you who sing, you're giving back your talent to God. You're singing to help usher that presence of God into the building. You could take your talent and be using it out there, and you could make money out there. But when you're giving your talent, you're giving it back to God. He blesses in ways that are far beyond what we can imagine. Let's look. Oh, Brother Terrence, did you have something to add? I'm sorry.
You pretty much said it. In business, they call it ROI, return on investment. And the master is, Christ, and he wants a return on his investment. When he puts into us, he gives us his spirit so that we don't just keep it and hoard it. We don't take the gospel and, put the candle on our bushel. We're supposed to let it shine, and we're supposed to be the return on the investment he gave us.
That's good. Yes, thank you for that.
Oh, could I add something?
Sure.
Also, along with what Brother Terrence was saying, is it's also like having every supply that you need to survive on like a deserted island or something like that. But you're just sitting on every supply that you need.
That's great.
And you're wondering, why am I not getting blessed? Why am I not being able to build this tent? Why am I not able to survive out here? It's because you're not using everything that you need. And
that's
everything that
awesome. I never looked at it that way. Thank you. This is great. Let's go to question number 2. How can you identify your spiritual gifts? And in what ways can you start using them for serving others? Now, I have heard this my whole life. I don't have anything that I can do in the kingdom of God. I'm just me. There's nothing that I can do. So, Sister Nanette, let's start with you this time. Why don't you tell us, this is kind of a 2-part question. How can you identify and how can you start using them?
Well, as is normal, the first thing you should start with is prayer.
That's right.
God can point things out to you. Look at your daily routine. There are things you do every day that could benefit somebody else. And if you're still having trouble identifying, go to someone in the church that might be able to see something in you don't see in yourself.
That's good.
It will help you to identify, because there are things. Well, one night after Wednesday night, I turned around and Rita Lee and Ruth were laughing at me, and I was looking at them like, what? And they commented that I could go from one conversation to another with different people. And I never thought about it till they said it. I've been working some form of customer service or another since I was 17.
Oh.
So even when I was uncomfortable, I had to learn to talk to people to the point now where it just comes more naturally than it used to.
Right.
So other people may see things that you don't see.
That's good. Yeah.
And you just have to take a step and try. Having grandchildren and having raised my own kids, it's a simple analogy. Pastor talks about feeding babies all the time. Well, if you think about babies and walking, they're never going to get anywhere if they're too afraid to stand up and try without falling on their bum or knocking their head or whatever. They just keep getting up and trying until they learn to walk. And serving's the same thing. You just have to keep trying until you find the right thing that fits, or you just get better at what you're doing.
That's great. Yes. Sister Karen, share with us your thoughts on this.
Well, for me, it's mostly along the lines of what Sister Nanette said, and how you have to go to others who because again, you're not always going to see everything that you see in the mirror. Other people see things that you don't always see in yourself. And then a way how you can start using them to help others is after you are able to identify those gifts, then again, you have to pray about it some more. And then you look for areas in your church that, you can help out with. Like if you like to sing, maybe try joining choir. If you like to do tech stuff, work in the sound booth, just looking around and seeing what you can do.
This is great. Yes, I love this. I had written down, you can look at your natural talents. I know the question asks about spiritual. Can you go back to the English for us? It's talking about spiritual gifts, but you can also look at your natural abilities. Like Sister Karen said, if you have a musical ability, get involved. If you are good at carpentry, do you know how much work there is around the church that needs done? And beyond that, helping in among the church body. If you say, well, really, my only ability is that I'm a really good cook, that comes in handy on Wednesday nights. Sister Michelle can always use help. When family, if somebody's in the hospital and the family needs people to bring food, or if there's been a death in the family and we want to help out, these are different areas. This is all part of serving. If you have artistic skills, the Sunday school department can definitely use you because they're always needing artistic things. Spiritual gifts, I've got on here, natural talents are often the vehicle through which spiritual gifts can be used. For example, if you have a great voice, use your voice for the kingdom of God. And then I have some things in here. As I study how gifts operate in the Bible, do any resonate with me? What is the Lord telling me? And sometimes you learn what your little place in the kingdom is by trying things that just don't fit, okay? Some of you, we desperately need people to work in the nursery because mothers need to be able to focus and listen to the word without having to deal with their little ones. And nursery is always the one area that nobody wants to work. You may work that and you love it. You may go in there and you're like, thank you, but I will do something else. But you only know from trying, all right? Let's go to question number 3.
Could I add something?
Oh, sure.
Also, gifts change as you get older.
That's right. Thank you.
I sang youth choir in the church I grew up in, and very shy, and still to this day do not like being up front. So I love you guys. But when they would have, because I was the tallest one, when they would ask me to sing solo, they'd say, you need to come up front. Nope, I'm fine where I am. Everybody was shorter than me. They could see me. I can't sing like that anymore. So gifts change.
Yes,
as
they do.
You do. Some people can still sing as they get older. That's not my thing. But you have to take into account what you could do when you were younger might not necessarily be what you're good at now.
That's good. Yes. Thank you for that.
And then also, sorry, but one more thing is also you have to take into account that not every USB-C charger is able to fit in every single iPhone. And the same way, so you have to remember
Oh.
that you're not going to be able to be good at playing the drums, singing, doing tech. You're not always going to be able to be good at doing stuff like that in the kingdom of God. That doesn't mean that you can't do all of those things. You just have to remember that you're not supposed to fit in every single place, because if you do, then that means that there aren't any jobs left for anybody else, if you get what
That's
I'm saying.
great. Oh, this is so good. Yes. Yes, I love this. Does anybody else have a comment before I know I get tunnel vision and I forget? Okay, Brother Maverick.
You know, the way that I've always looked at it is like sometimes you look for like, all right, what can I do well? Can I sing? Can I do art? Can I work well with kids? And you look at all that. Everything you do is a gift. Life is a gift. And if you don't give, like, if that parable is true, which it is, because it came from
Jesus.
I mean,
yeah.
then we have to give back what God gave to us.
Uh-huh.
And in everything, we should give back. So I think of it as give talents back, but also give life back.
Yes. That's good.
Because life in itself is a gift
That's
that
right.
we shouldn't take for granted.
That's so good. Thank you for that. And you know what? That just reminded me of something that I saw this past week. I follow this guy named Brady Shearer. Maybe some of you follow him on Instagram. And he teaches churches how to do their social media, what to steer away from, what to look for when you're trying to publicize your church. And he said something that you said, sometimes we think of what can I do well? He said, my pastor put a camera in my hand and wanted me to start doing the church's social media. He said, I didn't know what I was doing. But it was the fact that somebody had faith in me that I could do it. And now he's got his own business and all this kind of stuff, all because somebody trusted him with a gift. You may not think you do something too well, but give it a try. And when you start taking ownership of it and taking interest, it blossoms into something bigger than you even realized what it could be. So thank you for that. This is great. This past week, when we were at the funeral, after the funeral, the church there, the local church, served the family food. Well, one of my cousins, she came over to our table. She said, this whole thing of having people come and bring my food and bring my drink and refill my coffee, I can't. I told the woman, don't do that. I'll get up and do it myself. And she said, the woman told me, you sit down because you are not going to take my blessing from me. And that is a servant's heart, is I'm doing this unto the kingdom. I'm here to serve you and do whatever I can to make it easier for you. When we have that mentality, it changes everything, because I want to know what I can do to help in whatever situation I'm in at that moment. And this sounds crazy, but it can be as small as you're walking in the store and you see somebody behind you who's struggling. You're leaving the door open and let them go in first. Or you mentioned one of your girls will stop and go help somebody load the groceries into their car. What's the bottom line here? It's about serving others, showing the love of Jesus, serving, serving, serving. Brother Paul, he's bringing the mic to you. Is his mic on?
Okay. Awesome. I have to say, and I think we're being live streamed, so I'm going to try to be careful here. Pastor's in here, so if I get too out on the weeds, he can say, stop. Anyway, I love it too when Christians with a servant's heart serve me, not because I deserve anything special, but as someone with a disability. You'd be surprised at the times I could go out to dinner or something, and the server wants to play 20 questions.
All right.
And I just want to eat my food. Like,
yes.
I don't want to talk about how I'm able to brush my teeth and all and tie my shoes, and I want to be kind. And sometimes I'm more into that than others, but sometimes I've had a long day and I just want to enjoy my dinner. And
yes.
And when I have people in the church who are serving me, God can say, hey, don't do that, and they don't. It just happens automatically. And so just know that people who have quote unquote disabilities appreciate that too. That there's not that same pressure to be 110%, because you might be the first blind person they've ever seen, so you better not make a mess with your food, or they'll think all blind people that so yeah.
Thank you, Brother Paul. That is so good. And everyone who has ever stopped to pick them up or take them to the grocery store or helped do things for Brother Paul and Sister Dawn, that is serving in the kingdom of God, because you're doing something to make their life easier. And that's what this is all about. This is great. Anybody else before we move on? This is wonderful. Okay, let's go on to question number 3. What are some common barriers that prevent people from serving, and how can we overcome these? So this is a 2-part question. What are barriers that people run into, and how can we overcome those barriers? So, Sister Karen, let's start with you this time.
Okay, so there can be several. Okay, let me rephrase that. It can be several things. It can be, oh, I'm too scared to do this. I don't want to mess up. I don't want to make a fool of myself. I don't want to hurt somebody else. But then in the end, it all boils down to pride. It all boils down to just the pride of yourself thinking, oh, well, I don't want to do this. I don't want to, but it's not you doing that. You're not doing that for yourself. You're doing that for the kingdom of God. So that means you're doing it for him, the one who gave you that life, the one who gave you that talent, the one who gave you everything that you have.
We're about to take an offering at the end of this. That is great. Yes. Sister Nanette, give us some barriers you notice.
Overthinking.
Aha.
I'm a big overthinker. Also, thinking every form of service needs to be grandiose.
That's good.
We don't all need to be the worship team.
Right.
We've got the people in the tech team. We've got people who do things behind the scenes, cleaning, cooking, everything. And fear, like Karen said, failing and awkwardness.
Mm-hmm.
What if I mess up? Well, then you just try again.
Yes.
And don't assume anything. Don't assume somebody doesn't want help. Or
that's good.
Assume that you don't know what you're doing. If you ask somebody if they need help, and they say no, just do it again the next time. Somewhere along the line, somebody's going to say, yeah, I need help. And serving can be simple. Loading groceries, taking your neighbor to the store. I did a lot for Lindy after the baby was born. But I think the biggest difference was she came over to help, but I had already done everything for that day. But Arnetta visiting with Lindy needed to see somebody besides mom.
Yes, that's good.
And that time that Arnetta spent with her, I could see the difference in her mood and everything like that. Just little things.
Yes.
It does not have to be big.
That's good. That is good. I had some things here. Did we have a question over here? Go ahead. One thing I've heard is too busy. I'm too busy. I've got work full time. I've got my home responsibilities, my family. I'm just too busy to help at the church. Another thing I've heard is husbands and wife both work. We don't have much free time together. So, hey, let me give you a little hint. You can use your free time together at the church working. It's great. That's how I grew up. That's how you grew up. How many family vacations were cut short because we had to come home and clean the church? I know that very well. I don't know what opportunities are available. Nobody's asked me to do anything. I don't know what to do. Can you jump back to the English for us? So the common barriers, these are just things that we see very frequently, things that I've heard. Another thing, I give of my money so I don't have to give of my time. I've also heard serving is for young people. They have the time and the energy. That's true. I served for a while, but I felt unappreciated, or I got burnt out because nobody would help me. That's legitimate. I get that. But when you have a servant's heart, you go into it, you're not asking for that pat on the back. You're just doing it because you see the need. On a side note, let me just mention, we desperately need people who could clean the church. And that sounds like, it doesn't sound like a big deal. But when you're talking about vacuuming the church, mopping these entrances here, cleaning the bathrooms, you can get it done in an hour or two, and it's once a week. And if we have a lot of people, then you only have to do it once every couple months. Right. But right now, I think we might have 2 families.
Yeah, it's us and then somebody else.
Yeah, and so they're having to do every other week. Whereas if more people would do that, see Brother and Sister Bailey after service. Okay. Anyone? Oh, yes, you had something to add. Thank you.
I didn't know you were going to go where you went, but okay.
Sorry.
That's all right. Thanks for setting it up for me. The question of common barriers. I think the most common barrier that we all have when it comes to service and kingdom work is priorities. What you prioritize comes through in your daily life. You may not feel like you prioritize things over the kingdom, but all you have to look at your calendar, how you invest your time. At the end of a day, go back and look at that day. What did you do with your time? I'm not talking about time wasted on social media and all those other kind of things. I'm talking about being intentional in looking and searching for opportunities to serve in our regular day. A trip to the store is not just, I got to get everything on my list, but a trip to the store is, I'm being observant of the things around me. If someone needs help, being there, being available. You'd be amazed at how many God conversations can begin with just helping somebody carry groceries to their truck.
That's a truth.
Or helping somebody load something in the back of their vehicle. I pulled up to a store one day. There was an older couple loading a large purchase from Walmart or Sam's Club or one of those into the back of their vehicle. And the person who worked there had helped wheel it out for them and then just walked off and left them. And I'm looking at 2 folks that were in their 80s probably trying to load this thing into the back. And God love them. It wasn't that it was that heavy, but it was just cumbersome. The 2 of them couldn't do anything with it. All I did was stop and help them get things loaded in. And it was so cute because the little lady says, could you follow us to our house and help us? And I said, well, where's your house? They were like an hour and a half away. I was like, I'm sorry. I don't think I'm going to be able to make that trip today. But it was so unique how that just in those moments, she said, I was just sitting here asking the Lord to send somebody to help us.
Oh my goodness.
And you never know. You never know what you can do to encourage someone, what you can do to just show the love of Jesus to someone. And I think one of the things that we often miss in the life and in the ministry of Christ, we see all the miracles and we see all the wow stuff, but a lot of times we miss those moments where he just came to serve.
Yes.
Sitting down with the woman at the well, having a conversation, that was literally about serving the need that he saw in front of him right there. And so we are never more like him than when we decide to prioritize serving and prioritize others above ourselves. And I think it has to be others before me, and that has to be the way that my priorities are structured.
That's good.
Testing. Okay. Another barrier is thinking that you're unqualified.
That's good. Yes.
When you don't have to be qualified, you just have to have a heart to serve.
That's it.
You can be taught many things, and that can go for, end up being something that you're really good at and being a gift that you can develop.
Mhm.
So definitely unqualified.
That is
what people
good,
think.
Brother Maverick.
For me, one of the biggest barriers is the doubt that I can make a difference, the doubt that any of it will actually matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I can believe in myself all I want. I can believe in my talents and abilities all I want. But most of my doubt comes from, well, nobody's going to listen. Well, nobody's going to care. And how I get over that is I just think, well, it's not in your hands. It's in God's.
That's good.
God
Yes.
just wants you to be the tool. He doesn't
That's
want
it.
He doesn't want you to be the potter. He wants you to be the clay. He has the skills to do everything. So if you put in your work, if you do and give back what God has given to you, and do everything that you're told, God can do everything else.
That's right.
And you don't have to worry about messing up. You don't have to worry about doing something wrong that'll just mess up everything, and everything's going to be wrong and bad and all just over, because it's in God's hands. Because He, at the end of the day, is the one in control.
That's good. Yes, I love this. You have more? I'll get it.
Well, something else that I wanted to bring up is, how many of us have ever had on-the-job training?
Yes.
Service is the same thing. You may have to learn what you're doing as you go, but you will get better as you do it. Anthony was a big supporter for me when I have Bible study questions and stuff, and he encourages me that I can do this. Not the most comfortable thing for me, but I make the effort because, Pastor encourages me. You encourage. Anthony will text me and go, "And how's it going?" And encourage me and see if I have any questions.
Yes.
But it's on teaching a Bible study, on the job training.
That's right.
And also something I learned a long time ago: if you're standing in a group of people and you offer everybody a piece of gum, not everybody's going to take it. It's not a personal affront to you.
Right.
I personally cannot chew gum. That's why I like that analogy. So I'll be the one that turns you down. But if you keep asking, somebody's going to take you up on it.
That's good. I think back here in the tech team, you may not have known how to do what you're doing right now. When you first walked in this building, I don't know that we could have ever imagined. Sister Leah, would you ever have imagined that you would be up there doing this? And this program is not something that they really use in the business world. So you're learning as you go, and you make mistakes, and you know what? You roll with it. I can't tell you the number of times that I have hit wrong chords, and I'm not talking about as a teenager. I'm talking about in this building right here as an adult, take off playing the wrong song, and they're singing something different. You just roll with it. You laugh, and then you keep going, right? Pastor, when you were talking about the little things that make a difference, my dad had this thing. He started the year back when I was younger. He started the year every year, and he would say, "I'm going to be intentional, and I'm not going to sleep at night until I know I have affected somebody's life." And there have been times he would get in at the end of the day, and he would be tired, and he'd think, "You know what? I didn't reach anybody today." He would get back in the car, go to the store, and find somebody in line and either pay for their groceries or help them load the car. Whatever the case was, then he could sleep that night. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you, I am not that committed, because if I'm in for the day, right? But it's that being intentional of, I'm not going to sleep tonight until I have affected somebody's life. Did you have something to add, Sister Karen?
I did, but I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry. I'm bouncing all over the place.
Oh, no, wait, actually, I remember. Okay. And also, again, like what you were saying about how you're not, it's like getting out of your comfort zone.
That's it.
Being able to
Yes.
push yourself out there. Because if you never start your car, you're never going to go anywhere.
All right.
Like you could have everything already. I heard someone say that. I don't remember who. But you could have your key in your hand. You can even have your key in the ignition. But if you don't start that key and you don't start driving, put your foot on the gas pedal, you're not going anywhere.
All right.
So you got to push yourself out.
This is awesome. I love this. Brother Maverick?
Sorry, I thought of something else while you were talking. But so it's, if I understand the parable right, it didn't matter to the king that the one servant took his 5 and brought back 10, and the other servant took his 2 and only brought back another 2. So he has 10, he has 4, and the Lord treats them both the same. It's not always about the payoff. It's about the effort.
That's
it's
good.
about taking what he's given you
Yes.
and putting in your effort. Even if your product isn't the same as Tommy or Timmy or Jimmy, your product is your product, and
That's
you work
good.
for it, and God respects that.
Awesome. Oh, this is wonderful. I love this. Anybody else? We have 3 minutes left, and I don't want us to go over, but if you have a comment, I want to be sure and get you on this. Okay. The last question is saying, what are some examples of how serving has positively impacted your life? So in a minute and a half, can you guys share with us, Sister Nanette? Let's start with you.
Okay, I'll truncate it and make it really short. Rita Moyer and I dragged her along, went out one time years ago when it was really hot during the summertime, and we passed out little goodie bags with water, mints, a church invitation card, and a card in it that we both signed. Two of the things that most stood out to me and still do today, we stopped at a bus stop and we're passing them out, and there was one young man way off, standing away from everybody else. And when everybody else had got their bags, we called him over, and he kind of looked at us like, who, me? And the smile that crossed his face that he was being included. And he came over and we asked how he was doing and gave him his little goodie bag. But that afternoon we went to lunch at Chili's, and at the end we had an extra card left over, so we gave our waitress a big tip and we gave her the card. She came back, her eyes were welling up, tears were already streaming, and Rita and I are looking at each other like, what did we do? She was a single mother working. Her baby was in the NICU. She had no family in the area. And she didn't even mention the tip. She just said the card meant so much to her.
Wow.
All it said was, know that you are loved. And it was signed Rita and Nanette. And that's what she talked about. And that's one of the biggest things I remember, was letting her know that somebody was thinking about her. But when she first, that's again where I say assume nothing. Because when she first came over, we thought we did something wrong.
That's good. Sister Karen?
Okay, and then for me, how it's positively impacted my life is, well, it's made me more, because again, I grew up here, like literally here, and so for me personally, I used to think that like I'd go out and see kids acting up or doing stuff, and I'd be like, wait, you're allowed to do that? Like I didn't know stuff like that was possible, and
so it has positively impacted you to be a good kid.
well, I'm not saying that, yeah, but pretty much, and it's well made me different than the people around me. And at first I just thought everybody was like me and Izzy, vacuuming, cleaning the bathrooms at like 6 and stuff like that. But then when I go out and I see people, I'm like, wow, this has made me so much more sensitive to things like that.
That's
being
good.
able to serve and being like, gotta get the shash out. Oh, no biggie. Because it's just helped me become more servitude. I don't know.
That's good. Yeah, I love this. Oh, thank you, ladies, for joining us. Thank you for those who've commented. I do appreciate this. This is great. We're going to take 15 minutes and come back and jump for joy.